People, Deluded, I'm back again. Big up you lot, people tuned in. If you're on Twitch, one love, make sure you're using your Amazon Prime subs wisely. People supporting the movement. YouTube gang, please smash the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Hope you're having a great Friday wherever you lot are. Hope the weekend is better for you in that regards, and I hope we beat Manchester United. We're going to go over Mikel Arteta's press conference. We're going to talk about, David Ornstein. There's a lot of think pieces kind of filtering on the net. He's spoken about, I haven't read it, but something to do with Mikel Arteta, obviously the sporting director. Isak, apologies, asking price. Sesko's asking price, this, that, and the third. Boy has said, wow, live again. The grind is endless, bro. The grind is endless, bro. If I want to get to 70k subs and I want to improve all of this and everything else in between, it is what it is. I pick this life, man. The hustle is free. The grind is sold separately. Big up yourself, boy, because it's people like yourself and many others that if you don't work here, supporting, liking, watching on the replay, big up the replay dons, it'd be pointless, man. And in terms of content from myself, I was obviously here with Dan Potts. Make sure you check that stream out after and make sure you subscribe to him. We're here now. I think I'm going to be on Rancy's stream at 3:30. Well, it's Friday. Let me see if he's actually messaged me, but I expect him to message me unless something's gone on there. So I'll be on Rancy's stream. We'll come back over here at about 5 p.m. I've got DJB, who you see on Lee Gunner's channel, on Dan Potts' channel, on Southern Gooner's channel. Matty, pick them all up. Depending on if Gooner Lee, is a man of his word, I know he's listening. I'm going to throw him under the bus, cheeky little stream from about 6-ish maybe to 7, and then I'll clock out for the day. And man, unfortunately I won't be able to do a Manchester United Arsenal watch along. It will become clear very soon, people. I'll be back to have a little reaction stream. So it is what it is, man. It really is. And one key reason as to why it doesn't stop is because unfortunately in a couple of weeks, I think after we play Chelsea, it's 2 weeks, not 2 weeks off because we'll still be here, but you've got the international break, which it's a bit annoying, I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I know we won 7-1. Don't know what the Chelsea and the Man United games and the Champions League has to say for us, but could do with a break. But the international break is rubbish, man. It's a bunch of pointless fixtures. I might be wrong. This might be the March fixtures where there's qualifiers for some tournament, which is obviously an exception to the rule. But we all know the vast majority of the games played at international level are just friendlies, glorified friendlies. Even the Nations League, which has on one hand made it a bit competitive, but it's just a jazzed up friendly essentially. And I'm not a manager and whatnot, but it's one thing talking about the players based in England. It's another thing when you've got players jetting off to Africa, to South America, to North America, to other European nations, etc., etc. And where Arsenal are concerned, from someone that supports the players, I'd love to see Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri in the England fold, or at least as a minimum in the 21s. But then on the other hand, them two have had little injuries this season. They have had knocks. There's a lot of minutes in the legs for Nwaneri. And we just want to wrap all of these players in cotton wool. When is Martinelli back? I suppose Mikel Arteta has to have been asked about that. Tab police, look away. We're going to get into all of that kind of stuff. So hopefully he's spoken about Martinelli. We all imagine Kai Havertz is done until next season. Tomiyasu's done to the end of the year. Gabriel Jesus is done to the end of the year. We expect to see Saka back in August. Well, at the very maximum in August. We have small hope he's back this season. You'd imagine Martinelli out of the first teamers is the one that's going to return. But I mean, it just seems when it's a hamstring injury, to be fair, it does appear quite touch and go-y kind of thing. You have to see how it reacts. James, appreciate you, my dude. Hope you're doing well and safe. So man, let's crack on, lads. Smash the like button, all of that. David Ornstein apparently on Arsenal's academy recruitment drive, which again, boy, is very almost as passionate as me when it comes to the youth. There are lots of good intentions around this internally, but actions speak louder than words. And so far, there hasn't been a huge amount of action. That doesn't sound good. There are some early signs of that changing, and some impressive work is being done in preparation, but it's all about execution. Let's see if Arsenal can step up in the summer. I mean, obviously, with Brexit, you can't go around and get the best young Dutch players and all the other countries that the academies used to stockpile. At a best, you can do the Scotland thing, can do the Ireland thing, can cherry, but like City and Chelsea are great at it. They get the best players through local sources, and they pluck the best from other academies. Man City, any half decent player, they pluck. They plucked a lad from Millwall recently. So we are going to need to do that. I do think we're quite complacent at Halen. Like, we do little things. Like, if you remember when Joe Willock came through, in which on one hand, keep in mind, the club did sell him from their academy for 30 odd million. He's become a Premier League player. But I know for a fact, when he came through, you obviously had Josh De Silva, you had Dragomir, you had a bunch of talents. The club threw their hat on Joe Willock and said, you're going to make it. So I'm not going to say they don't care about the rest, but they didn't quote unquote care about the rest, in which on one hand, they've sold one for 30 million. But then we need to be a bit like Chelsea and City in the sense of, we're making a career for these guys. Like, again, not everyone is going to progress to the first team, but you could argue the Waters, the Solsas, the Coles Dewberrys, definitely Mika Bereth, especially this season. Them ones that, for whatever reason, rightly or wrongly, are not going to make it into the first team. And not going to make it into the first team. They're sold for decent money, which could be reinvested, in which only costs, well, I say only, I've never seen £1 million, but it's like £2.5 million to keep the lights on at Halen. So if you deep it, if one player comes through the Halen system and he's sold for X amount of millions, put that into perspective. And then obviously currently Wanyeri's in the first team, Lewis Skelly's in the first team, Saka's in the first team. You know, technically on the books, Reece Nelson's there, Smith Rowe's playing. But there's a lot of academy players that are doing their thing. Amari's over at Ipswich, yada yada yada. Mertesacker is worth his weight in gold to this club right now. It's just how we work, man. I think Mertesacker is very good in his role, but again, one man can change a lot, but I would say one man can't change a lot, man. So yeah, let's just hope that, you know, you want to have the best everything as an Arsenal fan, like any other football fan. You want to have best academy, best first team, best coach, best this, best that. Even want to have the best beer, or for those that don't drink alcohol, the best soda options, the most healthiest. So it is what it is in that regards, people. Moving on. Again, I must admit, personally, I'm quite tired on the director stuff. Until I see some proper announcement, it's boring now. We've heard 1 minute it's Alabi, we've heard Dan Ashworth, we hear Jason Ito is growing in stature internally at the club. Bert has been the man of the week, and you see what he's done at Atletico Madrid. Probably going to get Mikel Arteta some more athletic players, but for me, it's Alabi or Berta. It doesn't seem like Alabi's joining. It seems like he wants to take some time off. Berta, for me, it's got to be Berta. And then if not, we're not linked with Luis Campos, but I'm having Luis Campos. Big up yourself, Prom, man. I see you in a couple of Arsenal creator chats as well as my own. So yeah, big up yourself, large up yourself. Arsenal are working to bring the process, in brackets, signing a DOF, Director of Football, to a conclusion as swiftly as possible. But it is hard for them, let alone us, to put a precise timeline on it before there are multiple factors, moving parts and circumstances like fixtures which have an impact. They've been narrowing down the options, and has been widely reported Andrea Berta is among them. But there are other candidates, and a final decision has yet to be made, with conversations and due diligence ongoing. Arsenal's priority will be to make the right appointment for them rather than a quick one. I mean, it's not quick at all. But if they can marry up both aspects, that would be the ideal scenario. This is a huge moment for the club on so many levels. It's a massive decision. Now, I hope he could do the thing. Like, I hope Berta comes in, but naturally, in the same way if Saka was fit and we was playing in the Champions League, we know he's getting back to fitness and he's not in his full condition. But naturally, as fans, all our eggs are going to be in that basket, in the same way, essentially, I know we won 7-1, but it's all on all our not even expectations, hopes are on a young Wanyeri. So when we've made a big song and dance about January, about the summer, about what we've done or not done, and the transfer policy and who's to blame, when you see this guy, and yes, Atletico Madrid have not dominated La Liga that we've, in my 29 years that I've seen Real Madrid, that I've seen Barcelona, but they've won a Europa League, they've got to 2 Champions League finals, they've won a La Liga or 2, they've won some trophies, they've brought in players that have been sold on for profit. When the opportunity has provided itself, they have spent big money. Of course, they've got things wrong. And so when you hear all of that and you talk about what's going on at Arsenal, you think he's going to be the Messiah. One man can't change anything. In anyone's walk of life, we've all worked 9 to 5s here, right? You could have the best manager with the best ideas of how to work this company in the best way. But if those above him are not on the same page, then he's kind of crippled. So I would say temper the expectations. But I feel after January, after the summer, after everything in between this season and all what we've said, the club have given themselves, I won't say no margin for error because we're not known to disappointment to the fans. You need to show them everything. I think most balanced fans don't expect you to do everything, but you need to do significant business. Clearly need a striker, clearly need a winger, clearly need to sort out who's going to be that long-term centre mid. Need to get on the case of Saka and Gabriel Magalhaes's new deals in particular. Obviously, outgoings as well. Easier said than done. Don't expect everyone to be sold, yada, yada, yada. But Tavares, Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, Reece Nelson, Zinchenko, Kivior by default, Partey, Kieran Tierney, and there's definitely someone else, Jorginho. Their deals are running out, so we're going to have to see what's going on there. Trossard even. Because on one hand, I want to keep Trossard. If we get the upgrades we need, and if we're in win now mode, Trossard, he made his song and dance at this football club and being the guy of occasional starts off the bench, nicking it. If we're trying to win now, we can deal with that. I understand if Trossard wants to go Saudi or try a new experience, being 30 odd years of age, and he's rejected his first contract offer. To my knowledge, that's the only one that's been given. Typically in life, you don't accept the first offer, but going into the summer, they're going to have to make a decision now. And there's also rumors about Martinelli. Now, for natural reasons, we've heard rumblings about a big money sale will have to take place. Martinelli's form has seen him, you know, I won't say fans are necessarily forcing him out, but if 40, 50 odd million quid, there's very few Arsenal fans that would say no to that. I would say no because I'm emotionally attached to Martinelli. I think we could utilize him. And if we were that club that was going to say, you know what, Trossard, we're going to make a quick change on you. Martinelli, we're going to make a quick profit. We was going to sign a winger regardless of what you two were doing, and we're going to sign the next one, fair enough. But I feel a bit uncomfortable. There's no margin for error, and it can turn very south for everybody early into next season, which I don't think is fair for essentially Berta, who's moving to the club. He needs to be given, in my opinion, an equal footing with Mikel Arteta. Now, when I look at it, he's obviously Italian. You know, I'm sure he knows about the Italian league. We bought a couple of players there, Atletico Madrid and what they've done. There's obviously transferables at Arsenal. When you look at the profile of what you'd expect from a Simeone team and Simeone players, Arteta's not that. Smash the like button, people. But it's quite similar. So are they aligned on the same principles? I am not saying Arsene Wenger. I'm not saying Mikel Arteta is Arsene Wenger, nor am I saying is this guy David Dean, but I do think it's got to mimic it. Because when, obviously Arteta hasn't always got his way, but when we read the mouthpieces of the Athletic and whatnot, when it seems like everyone isn't unanimously agreed, like spending 65 million on Kai Havertz, getting rid of Aubameyang, keeping Xhaka, whether these things were right or wrong, bringing in left backs galore, bringing in Moreno, it seems like Arteta gets his way. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but if we have, you know, if I be devil's advocate and we go back to the summer of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, I'm happy with Declan Rice. But maybe this Berta guy could say, I know you like Rice, English tax, all of that kind of stuff. But what if I told you I had a profile that's available for 40 million? I call you want Kai Havertz. What if I could get you one of them that's available for 25 million? And then we can move money and do other things elsewhere. Now, that's not always going to be the case. But yeah, I just feel there's going to be too much expectations on one man. And even though his reputation precedes him, he's obviously got a great body of work. Edu didn't have that. We're not flies on the wall. We don't know what is going to happen really and truly. So it is what it is, man. But if the club are serious, they at least address the starting 11. Depth needs to be addressed. But if we go into next season and there's not an upgrade on Trossard or Martinelli, if there's not a real striker there, if there's not a long-term partner in centre mid, I don't think you're serious. Then if I was to strip it down, striker, winger, and centre mid is what I said. I personally think we need another left back. I'm not against another versatile Tomiyasu Timber-like defender. We need a goalkeeper or two. It looks like Tommy Setford's going to go on loan. They're not going to keep Neto. It seems like they want Garcia, so you need about two keepers. And then, yeah, it is what it is, man. We need depth. Like every question we've had in the last 2 seasons has played out this year. What happens if Odegaard's form's on the floor if he's injured? What happens with Benjamin White and Saka are not there? What happens if we get injuries and whatnot? And these last 3 seasons have forget the topic about bottling leagues and winning leagues and missed opportunities. We've been speaking about that. But the last 3 years going into this summer, if you lot are serious about wanting to finally get over the line now, because whether decisions have been good, whether decisions have been bad, end of the day, we're second. We've got a decent foundation and you lot are not kicking up. We're here now. If you want to get up there, there's enough research, because there's been seasons with no injuries, seasons where one injury's derailed it, seasons where we've, like now, where we've been dealing with injuries from the start. Need to go back to basics. There's so much Mikel Arteta has to arrest off his own back, purely his own coaching methods, the players as well, and as well as the practices here. The end of the day, Mikel Arteta signed a new contract, so we can't sit here. I'm never going to defend the Cronkies, but we can't sit here and do this blaming Cronky thing. Mikel Arteta is not a damsel in distress. You like the job so much, you signed a new contract for 15 million a year. So that, away from that, I'm being a bit silly, but I'm moving away from that. That tells me you believe in the project, you believe in who's above you, and you believe, regardless of the conditions that we might feel the Cronkies are giving you and not giving you, that you feel you can succeed and thrive. It's as simple as that. And I'm tired of the striker thing. My dream would be Isak, but when you're hearing 150 mil, that's a myth, as we all know. But whether it's Isak, Gyökeres, Osimhen, Sesko, this one, that one, I'm more than happy to entertain conversation, have those conversations, get one through the door. The we tried, the powder dry, the market opportunity, you might fool some sexuals. You can't fool the majority of free-thinking Arsenal fans. It is what it is. I'd bring back Hine and save 20 million instead of Garcia. I can't lie, sell Hine, man. He does count as homegrown, but shot that, man. Arteta would put the gloves on his damn self rather than let Setford or Hine touch the grass. 150 mil is a myth. If we do that, we can never talk about the Cronkies again. If we get Isak for around 100 to 110 mil, that's what we need to do. If we can't, then there's Gyökeres and Osimhen available. Then sign Rodgers as an 8, Buena 10, Lookman. I like Lookman. I don't know how much Arsenal are keen on him. It seems like he's, well, before the whole Gasperini stuff, he was going to keep it moving. I like Buena. And I'm not going to say he's not needed, but I feel there's other priorities if there's money left over. I think we need a more pure kind of winger. I think we need a more, he can play as a 10 or as a wide playmaker. I think we need a more industrious midfielder, someone that's a bit more tenacious, clearly striker. I don't think the club are keen on Gyökeres or Osimhen. I think their names will be always linked, but it seems like many years ago we liked Osimhen. We've gone off the boil there. Gyökeres, it just seems like paper talk. But when you listen to Ornstein and all these guys, not saying they're the mouthpieces, they at least mention Isak and a couple other names. So that is probably a myth in that. With Isak, I don't think whether it's 100 million all the way to 150 million he's leaving, but there's a lot of rumors. 1 minute Arsenal are hot on the case, Liverpool are hot on the case, Chelsea are hot on the case, PSG, Real Madrid even, which we've seen a few weeks ago, Barcelona, contract renewals. It's all gamesmanship. When it comes to someone like Isak, it's just put down the money, and putting down the money is one thing. You've got to make it favourable for Newcastle. Rafael Osimhen is prime for Arsenal. I like what Leao could be, but he needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of work. I'd be happy. I wouldn't move heaven and earth for him, if I'm honest with you. I didn't see that show. I feel like we'll get Ito. We ain't serious. I mean, I don't mind Ito staying at the football club. You can help Berta settle in. You can be his number 2. You can get him his coffee. You can learn on the job and whatever, but yeah, man, I'm sure we'll find out. Undoubtedly, whoever we sign in the summer, we all know how the Athletic type. They will type Ito picked up the pieces in January, etc. But to me as a fan, I don't know what you did in January. I don't know what anyone did, much less you. And to be fair, I don't think you're the guy, Ito, but I actually feel sorry for you because you're getting blamed. You're getting blamed for stuff that you don't really have a say in. I think people's frustration is just more the fact that you're even in contention for this position at this time at Arsenal sums up what we're doing as a football club. I can see us missing out on Berta because we're Arsenal. Get me buying? Nah, man. But Yossi Benayoun, we do not need that. You're not helping us. I'll get Thomas Rosicky before that, and I don't want any of you. Like Benayoun, you've got no CV to me. Like, what have you been doing? Rosicky, I think we need someone that is of the Alabis, the Lewis Camposes, the Bertas. They got real skin in the game. You ain't got that. But I'll take Rosicky before Benayoun, and both of them. I'm not really on this romantic thing at Arsenal that Arteta was a former player, Edu was a former player, Wilshere when he was here is a former player. Who else is there? Mertesacker is irrelevant because he's in the youth. I don't really care about that. I kind of want someone like Berta or Campos or Alabi. Like, I'm sure they know about Arsenal. They're going to buy into the culture and we want them to, but they ain't emotionally attached. They're not Arteta's friend. They're not here to necessarily make friends. They're here to make things happen. Someone that is cold, meticulous, and calculated and emotionless in that. We need that. We tried everybody growing in the set, even down to the players. We tried everybody growing together and whatnot. It didn't bang. So now let's get some serious guys, man. Serious guys. Great to hear our club say Isak would be a world record prize, even talking about bringing in Sesko to play with him. Could be playing with him, could be a long-term option. I do think at some point Isak will leave, but clearly, rightly so, if I was Newcastle, You're pricing him out of a move because you've got him contracted until 2027. You're trying to build what you want to build. Rightly so, Newcastle are saying if you want him, make it worth our while. We had to spend big. Everyone forgets, the only people that really made a real big profit off Isak like that was Sociedad, because they bought him for 10 mil. Newcastle had to pay a decent thing, but Newcastle were ahead of the curve. So they're laughing, and strikers are gold dust. Isak would have to kick up a fuss to a degree to say, I want to leave. A club would have to be prepared to pay the money that's required and structure it in ways for Newcastle for it to make sense. Unless Newcastle say, you know what, Isak, fair enough, you want to leave, especially where Champions League is still a profit on the topic. So I'm more than happy to entertain the Isak's thoughts. He'd be a dream for anyone, but it's a myth like in that regards, man. On the topic of that, Ornstein also said Arsenal will have done a significant amount of work on many striker options, and to my knowledge, none more so than Sesko. That doesn't mean they're guaranteed to sign him, because as you mentioned, there is the Isak interest, and also they are not the only club pursuing Sesko. Even though Isak is a lot less realistic for a lot of clubs, not just us, than Sesko. Nobody like Arsenal or Liverpool, whoever, they're not the only ones interested in Isak. Especially PSG should copy him. They're not and if you're Newcastle, you'd rather sell him abroad. Nobody alone is interested in Isak. Nobody alone is interested in Sesko. You don't have a free hit, which is why I said if Isak's your guy, make sure you get over the line. If Sesko's your guy, make sure you get over the line. But do not come and tell me that we couldn't get our first choice target, so we're signing no one. A lot of people fall for these things in isolation. Of course, there's sense behind that, but we're being told the same things every year. And I can't go market opportunity, no options. None of these guys can start for Arsenal, especially with no striker, let alone play up front. It's all fun and games, thumping up PSV 7-1, but I'm seeing it. Well, I did see 7-1 last year, but the same things are happening. Isolated to a couple of occasions, but in the last year, we've smashed City, smashed Sporting, smashed West Ham twice. Dealt with PSV. We've done that. The goals will be spread out across a year. We'll have set pieces and defenders chipping in and all of this sort of stuff. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts and you look at cold-hearted killers that in August, are going to do the business for you until May, or the majority of it, it's only Bukayo Saka. It's only Bukayo. Look at all of our attackers. Based on evidence, Kai Havertz will probably get double figures, but he's not going to be the guy that these 1-2 chances he's going to convert, turn a defeat into a draw, turn some draws into victory, and ultimately more points on the board. Where last season we missed out by 2 points against City. I'm purposely saying last season or the season before. I don't want to even talk about where we're at now. Like, everyone's checked out. Our season was done in January. Our season was probably done the moment Bukayo Saka went down. Our season was done in the summer. Again, if we look at win now mode, you don't know me. I like Calafiori, but defensively, you need to go on a defensive crash course, like a real defensive crash course. And I think you're a real player. But isolated with win now mode, MLS is a better option than you in terms of getting 3 points. Mikel Merino, apart from now where you're doing your thing up front, you're not better than Odegaard, Partey, or Declan Rice. You're not disrupting anyone. No matter how much these ITKs were saying he's a dual winner, all action, Xhaka replacement, making them 11s where it's going to be Merino and Rice. It's a myth. You're not a level raiser. Neto, the less said, the better. Raheem Sterling, the less said, the better. Two of those names I just said last, scrambling on deadline day. You start as you mean to go on. And we started off on the back foot in the transfer market. It's no surprise that it's all come to a head as the season's progressed. And the thing is, people only want to talk about this. Arsenal only want to talk about this. When you kick a problem, there's only so many times you could kick a problem up the road. Like, you have to fix your roof while the sun's shining, or the hole's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when it rains, it's going to flood, innit? Everything's come to a head. A lot of the things that have been issues for us, they've been issues since last season and potentially the season before. So it's boring mentioning the same things. The Mail Sports said they understand the shortlist for Arsenal's next sporting directors has been whittled down to 4 candidates, with a final round of internal discussions still to take place. Berta is among the shortlisted candidates as his interim sporting director, Jason Ito, having impressed internally during his temporary stint in the position. The fact Ito has been part of the processes of putting together Arsenal's transfer plans ahead of summer transfer window is viewed as an advantage by certain figures at the club, although other influential individuals see merit in bringing in an experienced and high-profile external appointment. Big up the individuals who see that. Naturally, they know that's going to appease the fans a bit, because we can go online and see what Berta done. We don't know what he really done, because even though he's a sporting director, you've got sub-teams. We don't know what he really done. Wenger was the guy when it came to finding French talent. David Dean was the guy at Arsenal, but there was people around them that we're never going to hear about. Every world-class scout that's held in high regards in this day and age, they have a sub-team. They're not necessarily always in Brazil, knowing about all them Brazilian dons, knowing about all them, I don't know, like, let's exaggerate, from Brazil, South America. So let's go all the way to Russia, for example. It doesn't happen. I'm not really with that. I hear the fact of Jason Ito's been involved, but if you're an experienced man like Berta, he's probably well versed in a lot of dynamics, joining clubs in this circumstance where it's a mess, which I wouldn't say is necessarily us. We're underwhelming, we're complacent. Surely he can just pick up the baton. Whatever plans we put into place, then let's be honest, it's not just a Jason Ito thing. A lot of clubs, they have signings in advance, or they have things what they're doing. They're not thinking just about this season, but also the next. Edu probably helped a lot of the building blocks we tried to gear up for this summer. So what's the logic? Like, Berta could come in and do a thing. I'm not on that. Jason Ito, number 2. Maybe one day you get the role, you're not ready, or maybe you have to leave and go somewhere else. It is what it is. Mikel Arteta on Calafiori's recent contributions. He certainly has the capacity to flow in areas that for a defender is very unusual. That is something that caught my eye. The other is that he's very chaotic, very unpredictable to play against, which is true. And as I said, I've got a lot of time for Calafiori. I know a lot of you lot debate, no, he's a left back, he's a centre half. That's cool. I think he can play both. I think he's at 22 years of age. I've got a lot of time for him. But when we talk about Calafiori's positives, we don't mention anything defensively. The vast majority of his key moments at Arsenal are in the middle third and probably the final third of the opponents. Just send the man on a defensive crash course and we've got a real player, man, in my opinion. Mikel Arteta against Man United will hit 200 Premier League games as a manager, so hopefully he can celebrate in the right way. Lewis Skelly, people, on being substituted in the 35th minute, Mikel Arteta said, a lesson for him to learn and we will help and support him. 18-year-old making 18-year-old mistakes. For as good as he was. Apparently, Amarin said we need to survive against Arsenal. The team was so tired in the last 20 minutes against Sociedad. Everyone can start if they're training today. And obviously, United, we're in the FA Cup. We've had a couple of days rest. Going into that, coming out of that / going into the FA Cup run. And obviously today, they played yesterday. Now, I do think Gary Neville's right. These are the type of games Man United win, but pack them in, man. Pack them in. Like, just pack them in. Take whatever confidence and any positives you need to take following the aftermath of the PSV win, and let's keep it moving, man. Every word from Mikel Arteta on the mood lifted post PSV. It was a great night for us in an important competition. We have a lot of hope in the manner of the way we did it, everybody, but that is in the past. Unfortunately, it's about what we do today, the preparation for tomorrow, and trying to replicate a great performance, which is true. We've gone over the Lewis Skelly thing, and he said he added on to the Lewis Skelly thing and said yes, because he's very intelligent and extremely demanding of himself. That is fine, by the way, but straight away his reaction was good. He's a perfectionist and has a great environment around him as well. He's here to learn as well. Big him up, Lewis Skelly. On if he expects Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly to be on England's radar, I have no idea other than what I've read and heard the noise around it. Thomas and his coaches will take the decision and we will support it. On if it would be good for them at this stage in their career, knowing Thomas and his coaching staff and the environment they create in the England camp, I think it would be an incredible experience for them if that's the case, whenever that is. That's not my decision. How we manage him here is in our control, but they will be coached by people that are super experienced and far more experienced than me. Where on his top 3 moments following 200 games in the Premier League, it's gone. Probably number 1 would be the day that I was sitting here on the first day, fulfilling the dream of one day becoming the manager of this incredible football club. There are many others, but the other night was up there with one of the best because of the way we did it. I mean, Mikel Arteta, I hear that the first day one, surely it's got to be winning the FA Cup. Like, not that there's been many others. It's got to be that. And then there's probably a next one. On his best memory, to be fair, he did mention the FA Cup. On the next 200 games, be strong. Puff out chest, blood. Say we're going to win the Prem. Not this season, of course. Win tomorrow. This is the industry of what happens. We try our best, have a lot of energy, and I'm very driven to have more success. Odegaard's contribution, he said, we have so much data and are looking at certain aspects of the game that cannot reflect just the performance of a player, but it's what you're talking about in that other phase, and they're still arriving in great positions, in great situations to provide the assists and score a goal, and he's proven that many times. The other day was a very good example of that. On wanting to be more unfluid and unpredictable and fluid, we need to look at the threats from all areas. We lost very important wingers that were providing a lot for us in the final third, and we're looking to explore other options as well. The team has this capacity to adapt. We don't have a choice but to adapt. We have a lot of players with great football intelligence to understand when to move and why, especially to do certain things. The other day certainly flowed, and we saw actions and combinations that are very difficult to defend. On United being able to get wins when they're not expected, there's a history of that football club, the players they have, the club that they have. Watching the game last night against Sociedad, it became very clear that they're very capable of putting a really strong performance in and beat you on the day. We know the difficulty of the match, and that's what we're preparing for. Both teams make mistakes, and boy, we know what to expect from Man United. We're going to dominate possession. We're going to have a bunch of the ball, but our stupid mistakes will be the reason we don't win. Obviously, United have quality. It's a big game. They're going to be up for it in that, but they're a worse coach side than us, owing to Amarin's struggles at this moment in time versus us. Their midfield is disillusioned. They cannot press as much as us. They do have mistakes, where it's summed up by the penalty on Thursday, or just the way they've been scored. Even Dogu, I'm not dropping any players in it. They do have mistakes. Their shape is horrible. We don't have our best players, but you need to play the way you need to. And it wouldn't make me happy, but disgraceful performance in the FA Cup. To take, combative and courageous from Man United, from us, horrible. All you need to learn there. And Man United fans, they're just talking, like in my group chats, they're just talking. Like, you would not think they're 14th, 15th, the way they're probably more vocal than Liverpool, Arsenal, or City fans on where the title's going to go. And to be fair, Man United, between Arsenal, Liverpool, and City, there's no real winners for you there, really. Even cheering, and you lot been cheering on Spurs, Chester United, as I always say, and they're your rivals, essentially. Anywho, on why we suddenly netted 7 against PSV. I mean, they hit the crossbar. They had chances. They opened up. We slaughtered them. It's as simple as that. And we've been waiting so long for goals. They flooded in. I think that's it. And, teams in Europe don't play the way that Prem teams do. Other than that, it is what it is. And for once, we smelt blood. We went from it. There was confidence in that. On Chido, Obi Martin leaving in the summer, I'll be honest, who gives a flying monkey's about the skeezer anymore, man? I wasn't too involved in that decision. When a player decides the best outcome for him is to leave, there's not a lot you can do. It's very unfortunate, because we want to keep our best players from the academy and for them to be very successful with the first team. But in that case, and with Aiden, we weren't able to do that. I wish them all the best of luck. On if there's a perception of no pathway, the better we get, the less chances generally for many young players. But we've literally got 2 teenagers in our first team, first names on the team sheet. Okay, I'm not even going to read that. On balancing Lewis Skelly's game time, I think it's about dominating the situation, control the situation. You need to dominate what space you're defending. What is the level of exposure that you have? Is the opponent facing you or not facing you? What is the probability to win that ball? And when you have to commit to certain drills, which is the things I'm saying. I expect him to have to learn that at 18. Then you have to apply defensive principles that are very clear to have. Most of the time, the best proper possibility is to win the ball and not get exposed. If you don't do that, there'll be problems. On Calafiori's attacking ability, we did go over that. And you would have seen Mikel Arteta promoting his wife's book on social media. I mean, you know what? Big up the gaffer. Maybe we're trying to get it by any means. Arsenal fans, buy his wife's book. I need to know Mikel Arteta. At least 10, 20, 90% needs to go towards the Isak fund. I'm very proud of her, because she's doing amazing. She has an incredible career in various ways, and she's very much into that right now. I have the person that I love the most in this world next to me and giving everything that she gives to me, so I feel very lucky. Look at me, I got a wife. Some of us are single, mate. Anywho, smash the like button, people. Amarin said, I think in that aspect, rebuilding, the way Arteta dealt with that is an inspiration for everybody, but I will not have the time like Arteta did. Of course you're not, bro. Of course you're not. Look away, Arsenal fans. Unfortunately, season ticket prices are rising for a 3rd year in a row, just weeks after the chief pocketed a 634k pay rise. A bit like energy prices, Energy prices are going up. Record profits are being announced for shareholders. Football Mirror Society, us on the ground at the base level, we're picking up the brunt in it. And, they're going to squeeze until there ain't no squeezing left to be done in it, people. At least we've been relinked with Lautaro Martinez. I mean, it's nice to be linked with a completely different name again for once. Well, not completely different, but it gets a bit samey with Isak and Sesko. I don't think we're signing none of them, but at least it's different names. Bearing in mind, Lautaro Martinez says he's great at Inter Milan. He signed a new contract. I swear he's their captain, but I don't know. Arsenal have turned their attention to signing Inter Milan star Lautaro Martinez, with incoming sporting director Andrea Berta a huge fan of the forward. Berta, who is expected to be named as Arsenal's new sporting director, is a big admirer of Martinez, 27, having previously tried to sign him while he was in charge of recruitment at Atletico Madrid. Arsenal expected to open preliminary dialogue as they lay the groundwork for a mega money summer deal. The Gunners have been searching for a marquee forward signing after struggling to get over the line in the Premier League title race in the last 3 years, and apparently we're prepared to open dialogue, people. He's hit 17 goals and 6 assists in 37 games across all comps. He's got 70 caps for Argentina. He's contracted until 2029. It's a bit of a myth. 146 total goals with Inter, and he does have pedigree because he's won 2 Serie A titles. Trossard is still being linked with a move to the Middle East, people, as we kind of discussed slightly earlier. Yossi Benayoun allegedly is in the frame to be Arsenal's sporting director. He said, I'd be interested in the sporting director role in England, but more so a pro-licensed coach. Let's see what comes up. Well, go work at Haaland. There's nothing you could do for us in the sporting director role. Arsenal are leading the race for Sesko. There is interest from other Premier League teams, but Arsenal are ahead. Player has a gentleman's agreement to leave Leipzig if they receive an offer of 70 million. 1 minute he's got a gentleman's agreement, then he's got a release clause. Who knows, man? There's just a lot of whispers. The price Newcastle want for Isak that seems to circulate around the industry is something like 150 mil. Now, to a degree, Newcastle know they ain't getting 150 mil, but for reasons I've already said, I rate that from Newcastle. You know what? He's contracted until 2027. I could be wrong. Maybe a year from now, it's a completely different story as to what they will do with Isak or what could happen and the possibilities. But they've got him for a year at least. And in that time, they'll probably convince him to sign a new deal, in my opinion. David Ornstein on our striker links. Oh, we've already gone over this in relation to Sesko, people. But he did say, personally, I haven't heard of Iketike or any other candidate being as high in the thinking as those two at this stage. But that can always change, of course. It's got to, because you don't know if you're going to... Sesko is a lot more realistic than Isak, but everybody's in for him. He could change his mind at any time. Isak, if you don't put down the money, it's a myth. So if them two are not signing, you've got to do something else. So there has to be others. And any half-decent striker of all ages, for obvious reasons, not just Arsenal, Newcastle are linked with forwards to deputise for Isak. United are linked with strikers. Chelsea, even Spurs. So you have to argue the credibility of half of these links because it's easy to do this. It's easy to just link anyone with anyone. Apparently, we've done all the groundwork, people. Arteta makes unexpected Arsenal transfer demand. Maxime de Cooper, okay, who's linked with Chelsea and Spurs, 24-year-old Belgium who plays left back. Fair enough. With Tierney gone, Zinchenko probably going. I'm not against another left back because, yeah, you've got Calafiori and you've got Lewis Skelly, who you could argue Lewis Skelly's a centre mid by trade. Calafiori's a centre half. You've got Timber that can go over there, but we've seen what a lot of injuries can do. So I'm not against another left back, but I do think the priority has to be a striker, a centre mid, and a winger. I'm not against it. I think there's scope for 2 defensive options, really, depending on who goes and leaves, because it's not for sure that Kiwior is leaving, despite him struggling for game time and interest with Italy. Zinchenko's got a year left on his deal. It's not for sure he's leaving. He might want to run down his contract. He might be naive enough to think I can play in midfield on a consistent basis or win my spot back at left back. Tomiyasu's obviously staying at the very least. Tierney's gone. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of unanswered questions. The only ones that are going on paper is technically Tavares because there's an obligation, Jorginho, Partey, Tierney because their deals are running out. Everything else is subject to speculation. Be interesting to see. Smash the like button, people. What else have we got? We were yesterday linked with Samu of Porto, a 20-year-old who has struck 20 goals in 32 outings for Porto. Again, don't know the credibility, but Chelsea did one in private prior. And it makes sense, really. Any striker is going to get linked with us. Arsenal and Chelsea are in a 4-club battle for his signature, people. The Spanish under-21s international. Don't know if he's been capped out right yet. Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa, and West Ham are all on the case, people. Chelsea is also linked with Liam Delap, and as are Newcastle. Apparently, Newcastle have identified Liam Delap as a possible replacement for Isak. Bit of an exaggeration, more somebody that could be part of the squad, maybe long term, because Isak's not going to, I don't think Isak is going to be there in the next 3 years, but I think it's a myth in that regards. Man United apparently have thrown their hat into the ring for Garcia of Espanyol. Now, if you're Garcia, 23-year-old who's being linked with Arsenal, Barcelona, now Manchester United, Spanish viewers say he can be the Spanish number one day. He's an Olympic champion, 23 years of age. Really, in the last 2 seasons, has only really been starting for Espanyol and getting a taste of first-team football like that. Surely you're more likely to start at Man United than you are at Arsenal. How long do you want to be Raya's number 2 now? I don't know, because we've seen Arteta's track record with goalies. And for Arsenal, if he's going to be number 2, do you really need to activate his release clause or commit 20-odd million euros or something for a goalie? I don't know. I'm not criticizing it, just putting up talking points, people. Arsenal have not started talks with Partey over a new contract. His current deal runs out this summer. Allegedly, Barcelona, Juventus, PSG all are interested, people. Charles Watts has been speaking as well. What has he said? According to Watts, the club is expected to offload a key player to raise funds for incomings. It wouldn't surprise me if we see one big sell at Arsenal this summer. There will be plenty of departures, but by big sell, I mean one of the established first-team players who have been key under Mikel Arteta over the past 2 seasons. It's been suggested that one of Trossard or Martinelli could be let go to help boost the summer funds. I would say Trossard would be more likely of the two should a good offer arrive. There's interest in the winger from Saudi Arabia. Arsenal rejected an offer that arrived late last summer, but it could be open to a sell this summer, dependent on how talks over a new contract. Trossard will only have a year remaining on his deal at the end of the season, and if an agreement on an extension has not been reached by then, it could be that Arsenal would let him go should a good bid come in. The attacker will be 31 in December, so you would think an offer of anything between 15 and 20 million this summer would be reasonable given his situation. Amazon are to release an Invincibles documentary. I hear that, but can we make some new history? And the Invincibles mean the world to me for obvious reasons, people. Again, striker search hype. We've gone over that. It's all Sesko, man. It's all Sesko. It's boring. It's even saying, Berta is to use his connections. Sesko's been linked with all the English clubs and actually Atletico in the last week. Berta's tipped to sign Cunha. Now, obviously, he was at Atletico Madrid, so it's a merry-go-round, people. I'm not against Cunha, but how much is he going to cost? Barcelona offer Arsenal PSG target new contract. So, yeah, Frankie de Jong hype, who's still being linked with us. Apparently, he'll cost 75 million. On ability, I'm having him. And I can't say an international football and a Dutch international is soft, but I think in a good way and a bad way, you're an Arsenal footballer. I think you're exquisite technically, centre mid, great, all of that. But I don't think you're a Spartan when things go wrong. And I think above all, we need a couple Spartans. Arsenal, Manchester City and Barcelona are being linked with Bruno Guimaraes. To be fair, there might be more of a chance of you pipping him than Isak, but it's absolute nonsense, people, if I'm honest, man. These are men that you should have signed when they were in Brazil or before they rocked up at Newcastle. We're still linked with Vlahovic, people. Apparently, he could be available for, how much did that say? He's got 18 months left on his deal for 30 million. I mean, Juventus are going to have to let him go in 2026. It seems like they're still keen on signing Koulibaly. The Juventus journalists / ITKs are saying today, actually, that they believe that Juventus are going to get Osimhen in the summer. So I don't really know what to make of that. We all know Sesko's got a release clause that rises with appearances and all of that kind of jazz. This week, we have also been linked, if it would be nice enough to load, with Hugo Ekitike, who's rated at 80 million, people. Probably on the cusp of a French call-up, but again, when you've got the talents that they've got, it's an issue, man. Is there anything else Arsenal related? We've whizzed through this, innit? We've gone over the transfer news, gone over bare things. Danny Dyer says his son-in-law Bowen will never sign for Arsenal. Ooh, okay. Bowen's cool, Bo. Okay, I don't know. It's fucking Bowen. Okay. I don't know why West Ham fans force the beef. Like, your girl left you, Declan Rice left you. You're gonna have to own that one. Is cool, man. It's proper cool. Although you had more chance of winning trophies at West Ham. That might even be cool. That might even be right. But then you have to ask the question, why did he still wanted to leave? He didn't care what you offered him. Just let it go, man. Time will heal, bro. And even Declan Rice, bro, stop playing shit against West Ham now as well. Stop crying, bro. You will go back there one day. I don't think you retire at Arsenal, but fuck that. You knew what comes with this. Stop doing the soft boy thing. But anyways, smash the like button. We've got 60 likes. How on God's green earth haven't we got 100? So yeah, we've whizzed through all of that stuff, people. There ain't nothing else to really talk about in that regard. Michael Prince has said Arsenal 4, Man United 0. I hope you're right, brother. Gyökeres, I just don't think is what Arteta is looking for. Score goals, sure, but Arteta has all the standards about strikers' general game. I think it might be the age profile as well. But I must admit, from what I see of Gyökeres, out of all the man we're linked with, I think you're one of the more all-rounders. I think you can drop deep. I think you can work the channels. I think I've seen a different variety of goals. I think you're very intelligent. Obviously, you're a good goal scorer. I don't think you're going to score to the rate you do in Portugal. With the most respect to the Portuguese league, there is an exchange rate. Therefore is. I'm not like you might get. I'm exaggerating, but you might get 40 goals in that league. Not that I could say I've ever seen that. That for me, that probably means about 15, 20 in the Premier League. In fact, Portuguese league top scorers, and I'm not saying this is with Gyökeres because I don't think I still think he's a decent player, but when you look at who's been the top goal scorers over them sides, it's Fugazi. You got Carlos Vinicius, you got Darwin Núñez, You got all these guys. Is this gonna load? Okay. This ain't even like transfer mark. How do you go of all time? Like, okay, you're not gonna do that. So let me do all time Portuguese league top scorers. All time goal scorers in Liga Portugal. In fact, man, it's coming up with bare things. Let's go from what year is that it's coming up with? Let me share my screen so you look and see what I'm going through. 1935. I like that, man. Like, look, we obviously have to tile this down a bit. Let's say from 1999, players from all nationalities. Let's say from 1999, man. Nah, just leave it there, man. All right, so obviously air that. But then you look at it like, bro, these are not really. Some of them are big up Nuno Gomez. In fact, we're gonna have to. There's just too much, man. Let's say 2010-11. Wait, Oscar Cardoso. I heard that name in a minute. But yeah, these names, it starts to get a bit fugazi. Like, Horta ain't done much. Jonas ain't done much. Tarambi's all right. He's like into now, forgive me if I'm wrong. No one ain't gassing up this guy. Jackson Martinez, everyone, he was all the range. PZ was all the range. Bastos is one of them I was going to say. Why haven't we seen Carlos Vinicius? Is man still Marnie? Throwback. Well, how is Jelino there already? So yeah, you get the point. It starts to get a bit fugazi, and even if we just make it a bit easier and say, let's say from 2019 to now, that's like 5 years. Gyökeres is there already, like, respectfully, like, he's there already. So I'm not saying he won't bag, but there's clearly an exchange rate at this moment in time. Again, Arsenal need a striker. It does not surprise me that two guys in Portugal that are scoring goals, one's 26, one's 20, are bagging 25 goals in 23 games, and it's no fluke by Gyökeres. It's wavy. Like, you gotta give someone their flowers. It's wavy. I'm having that at the carpet. You'd be mad not to want that at the carpet, but yeah, man. Aito could be the coffee guy in the building, but don't allow him in the boardroom. Aito kept the powder dry. That's what Cronkies are impressed with. We don't want Benayoun or Rosicky. We need Berta. Surely Berta would have already been signed by now after being identified if we were getting him. I don't know, man. At this point, I just accept everything at face value, broski. If we can't get Isak, I'd take Osimhen and Kluivert from Bournemouth. Isak is injury prone and not worth 100 million. Sesko all the way. Last time I wanted Gyökeres as the main striker. Run the likes up if you have it, man. Sesko was very good a few years ago. Now he isn't that good. He's average. Big up DG, this Berta. Big up yourself, man. This Berta and Aito situation gives me PTSD from the times we got linked with Benzema and signed Asado. Hey, let's hope it don't go like that, man. Just sabotaging ourselves. There's always other options. They'd rather spend 150 million on extending the stadium than Isak. It's business. All these strikers we're linked with are short of Gyökeres and Isak. Simple as. Some could develop to the level of Gyökeres or Isak, but we won't sign the overly expensive Gyökeres and Isak right now. Sesko is in Germany, where it's expected that Bayern win every year. Cali was a centre-back bombing forward, not his fault being played left-back. Yeah, but he's got no defensive like, his defensive attributes are non-existent at this moment in time. Like, don't look over his shoulder, gets caught flat-footed. These are relatively minor things. Doesn't know when to get tight or when to drop off. He just needs to go on a defensive crash course, and he's calm, man. I think he gets a bit too emotional, but that's it. It'd be like berating a player in League off for not winning the league when they aren't at PSG. I'm not sure of that, but yeah. Reports are saying Berta is just shortlisted, not saying he's the fave for the position or anything. So we're going to have to just watch it. I big up Randy from Japan. When Shirley was here, this guy shot from like 40 yards. Hey, DG, I think Arsenal should concern about a realistic deal. For example, I think you'd be Morata and Benzema, veteran striker for a few years. Yeah, man, they're going to get their P40. They're going to get their blue badge and their freedom pass, man. We don't need that. In January, I wouldn't have been against Morata. Desperation settings. Big up yourself, boy, man. Run up the likes. Welbeck in Jam would have won us this league. The bar is on the floor. People keep dreaming if you think we're getting a top talent as things are. I think Arsenal's plan is only famous players. If that was the plan, we're not doing it right. It wouldn't surprise me if Cheeto scores. Havertz is Havertz. Just remember, he's not a striker, so let's go easy on the guy. Arteta, the owner on the board, are the real problem for us as fans right now. As crap as Havertz can be, his output was still decent. 15 goals and 14 assists by February is not horrible. So just not any players enough. An upgrade to win us this league. We need real quality in the side. Martinez is a better version of Jesus. I'd like a gunslinger of a striker. I don't believe that. I must admit, I don't believe the Latour Martinez ones, man. Isak 2028, 150 million is nowhere near enough, bro. But fair enough. If you think you get 150 mil, I don't even think Arsenal get it. If you think you get 150 mil for Isak, right, I think there's a rude awakening due when the time's coming. Isak going anywhere? It's Anfield. He wants big European heritage. If Leipzig are gonna throw us 70 million, are gonna make us throw 70 million at Sesko, then what is stopping this board turning their heads towards a more prolific striker like Gyökeres for a similar price? Go for Vlahovic. We're gonna get linked with every striker under the sun, bro. These things are not going anywhere. Good time for us to sell Bruno now for the right price. To be fair, with FFP and having more flexibility, yeah, but and I don't know who else you'd sell, but if I was Newcastle, you want to keep Tonali, Isak, this is someone else out, Gamares. You want to keep them all together quick, like for a little bit, so you could do, man. Yeah, going mad. You are going mad. Darwin crashed it on that league. Exactly. DG Lowe. What have I done? The reason is because Portuguese clubs sell the top player as soon as possible. That's the remit. Obviously today is a bit different now because Real Madrid are signing hardly any closely talented South American is going over there. City are doing that. Chelsea are playing real life Football Manager. But typically, that does happen. But you did see, the Portuguese clubs, and for obvious reasons, maybe not so much now, but Shakhtar Donetsk, a lot of the South Americans will go over there. We all seen what Benfica, Sporting, Porto have all done. And like you rightly said, sold to other markets, man. We should get Neymar from Santos. He's been cooking. Yeah, Neymar, it'd be lovely, man. I'd rather sign Gyökeres over Isak because for 84 million, that leaves us with more cash to get other players. You got to give up on the Isak one, but you definitely got to give up on the Gyökeres one, man. It don't seem like they want Donny full stop. Like they're not on it. Calafiori look way better defensively at centre back. It's that defending out wide where he looks lost. I hear that, but in the modern day, especially when we're playing inverted fullbacks, you're gonna have to do that, bro. Nobody really sees it because of our shapes. Saliba has to do that with Timber, and definitely a lot more Ben White. Gabriel Magalhaes, you see his role. So you're going to be exposed in them situations anyways. I've got time for Calafiori. I've got a lot of time. I think he needs to just stay fit, go on a defensive crash course, and we'll get there, man. I'm not even saying he's going to be like Magalhaes, but he's the same age. Well, at the point of walking into this football club, you are the same age as Gabriel Magalhaes was. Time flies. Magalhaes is now 27. In those 5 years, it's fair to say he's developed quite a bit. And I could be wrong. I'm probably making all of this up, but where we look at our first team, if you ignore Lewis Skelly and you ignore Wanyeri, I think Calafiori must be the youngest, isn't it? He must be. Obviously, Nathan Butler, Odeji, Kaba, Sego Jr., them and they are not really part of the first team like that. We always buy players when they turn up. Why didn't we get Cunha last season? He had a good season last year. It'd be more expensive now. Just leave it alone. Cala looks like he could do an old school DM role. I don't know, man. I don't trust him defensively all the way yet, man. I trust his mentality. I trust his want to do better. I don't think he's ready, man. Even MLS and Mexican League takes players from the Portuguese League now. Better wages. Their game. Calafiori going forward is low-key breathtaking. How TF is a defender finishing like that? I like it, man. For me, I just think as you get older and more experienced as a defender, you got to be more calculated. Where we're at this season and the twists and turns that have taken us here, Calafiori is a genuine option up front and one of our better attackers. Our fullbacks, they don't rate us fullbacks, but fullbacks have been saving Arsenal's bacon. And Timber's been doing his thing. We all missed White. Lewis Skelly's doing his thing. Tierney in the little minutes he's getting. Us fullbacks are the most important players. You got Trent going Real Madrid or running that deal down. Well, you have to rate us. Liverpool fans thinking they're pulling off Isak signing has got to be the funniest, man. If we ain't putting 150 M's down, they definitely ain't. Calafiori, Martinelli, Wanyeri. I've cracked the Arteta code. Get every player in our squad to score and then sign a forward goal threat from whereas. I ain't trying to hear that. Sesko and Iketike from Frankfurt seem like good options, or even so Martinez from Inter Milan as strikers to score a lot of goals if we can't get Gyökeres or Isak. I'm past the point of deliberating about the strikers. Just bring me one. Whoever it is, You know, we're not going to sign Isak, but for example, if we spent 150 million on Isak, when we sign him, have the conversation. Is he worth the money? Is he going to stay fit? Sesko, can he do it or not? Gyökeres, can he do it? What he did in Portugal, in England or not? At this point, just sign me the striker and let's have these conversations elsewhere. I've checked out. You need a striker. You need a forward. There's no way around it. Big up DG. If we get Berta as our sporting director, what are your expectations on him apart from the obvious? I can't lie, it's the obvious. I'm not, obviously, this summer we need to do a madness and he needs to do what he needs to do, but he would have been here a matter of months. I can't place all my eggs in that, but keep being a bit proactive with contracts, I would say, because it did feel, maybe not so much now, but we was kind of on top of renewing contracts. We've kind of come a long way from them Emirates days of, you know, even at recent years, Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil, like their deals running down. So keep being proactive in that. I can't lie, man. I know you're not going to be able to pull it off, but can you, Edu is right, and Arteta did allude to it. Can you try and sweeten up the cronkies to go into this multi-club structure? So contracts, multi-club structure. For the life of me, there was another one. You said on the obvious. I want you to stand up to Mikel Arteta and find alternatives. And I wouldn't say Arsenal are a good selling club, and whether we should have sold them or whether we should have sold the players and replaced is what it is. But I do think last summer, by our standards, which were in hell, we was turning the corner. So just make us better at selling. Even if, like, obviously Marquinhos is a dead example, but we signed him for 3 million. It's not the end of the world. He's shit, but it's not the end of the world. If you get someone like him for 3 million, can you turn that into as conservative as 13 million? You can't go broke making a profit, innit? Berta, I need that Isak in the 14. And I hope this summer, maybe not necessarily Isak, naturally, if you sign for a new job, you want to make an impression. And obviously, he's experienced. It's not puffing out his chest. But if you're signing for Arsenal, you know how the fans are at this moment in time. You want to show you're serious. So can you make us fans dream about something by actually signing something? Saliba extension goes without saying. DJ, I'm more than confident it's going to be Sesko. Would you be happy with him? I wouldn't look at him like you're a game changer at the point of signing for the club, but we've got a striker in it, so I'm not going to cry. I think Sesko's decent, but it's hard to, admittedly, when you're linked with Isak and them ones, and then you've got a development striker, it is hard to drop down, man. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Rice 6, MLS 8, Odegaard 10, Calafiori, Martinelli, Wanyeri. Arteta does have an affinity towards Sociedad players. Well, he probably signed some more. He watched them. We went through his press conference. He watched them yesterday. Bologna as well. You are right. Bro, DG, I don't like hyping players, but Wanyeri looks so good, man. His football brain at that age is better than a lot of Prem players. Yep. So let him keep doing his thing, man. If we have 105 for a DM, we can do 150 for a striker. It's true, but it is a madness for Isak, with the greatest of respect. Like, it is a madness. We know we're not getting him anyways. Isak is not coming to Arsenal. This narrative is so old. With the number of players that we need to buy, the funds have to stretch. Breaking the bank on one player is irresponsible. Yeah, but then at least Isak number 4 would be great. And Liverpool, I mean, if Liverpool flog Darwin Núñez, somehow keep Salah and get Isak, but laughing, innit? Do you think Trossard stays or goes? And if so, would Cunha be a decent replacement? Because I don't see this Nico Williams thing happening at all. I'm having Cunha immediately. Like, he can play in that 10, plays a false 9, play out wide, makes our squad stronger. Decent little rotation option, good little player. I'm having that. Trossard, I don't know, because it depends what Trossard wants to do. It depends what the club want to do, because he might be someone that fields offers. And obviously the club might, whether they sold them or not, is another thing. But you're not getting a transfer fee for Thomas Partey. You're not getting anything for Tierney. That your chance was last summer. Zinchenko, you'll get something. Kivior, you might get something. I think Kivior and Trossard, they seem to be the ones that you think would have some genuine, consistent interest. So maybe you make money there. So yeah, if his contract's running out, you got to let him go. But are we going to let him go without bringing bodies in? Are we going to let him go regardless? And if we're in win now mode and you sign that left winger and striker, Trossard's cool in the squad. Trossard, Martinelli and Havertz, at least until they wake up and do something else, yeah, they're calm for the squad. Our problem is we run players into the ground anyways. 2, we take guys that can chip in, and if your form's out this world, you can start and try and make you be the difference for 25, 28, 30, 35 Premier League games. And we're surprised when from August all the way till May, there's good periods, there's ups and downs, but undoubtedly there's not over the line. And I'm not trying to be harsh. When Kai Havertz pulls his weight a lot more than some of his attacking colleagues, which tells you everything. But You see, when you want to win a league, you need to be able to answer a lot of questions. Liverpool Salah is doing X amount of things. Their managers won at the Eredivisie. There's transferable experience. There's certain other things with their players. I thought we was coming into a way where there'd be a level of expectations on our players, and there kind of is. But from an attacking sense, Saka's the only one that's going to do it. Ranieri's come on the scene now. He might get in that realm, but Saka's the only one you're betting on in August. We always say, I said it in the last 3 years, we know we're going to score goals, but you just don't know who the hell is going to score goals. And I definitely didn't see Marino coming in and bagging 1-2 goals up front. We would, it's crazy with what we're talking about with Calafiori. I mean, I wouldn't be against shopping in the Prem. If you could get me if worse comes to worse and we move away from the Nico Williams and Isaks and whatnot, bro, bring me Sesko, bring me Mbuemo, try bring me Cunha. I know even that three don't sound realistic, but if you could bring me Cunha, if you could bring me Mbuemo and Sesko, I could work with that. Amongst other things. Sesko, Wiesa, Napalm, Zubamendi, or riots. Arsenal fans rioting would be the most PG riot ever, isn't it? Really and truly. But big up Arsenal, man. If we sign Cunha, that might mean Odegaard is on the chopping block because that guy is a 10. Nah, you're not on the chop. Bro, everybody should be on the chopping block. Fight for your place, blood. These Real Madrid dons. Obviously, Real Madrid is not Arsenal. But you look at Real Madrid, bro, the only way is down, fam. Obviously, there's nobody like Vinicius, Mbappe, the list goes on. They're all quality players, in it. But you're at the pinnacle. Real Madrid, in theory, are always looking for quality players. So the next Vinicius, the next Mbappe, they're gonna be on it. You know what you need to do. If you want to play. We're not here to make friends, We're here to win shit. And maybe you could argue pressure could help Odegaard. Obviously, he's our captain, and there's little nuances that is not his fault. But pressure makes everyone better. I think if the club was like we were serious with the owners that we want to win leagues, I think of these 3 years, Arteta gets a league because we would have done certain things above Arteta differently. I don't think there's enough pressure on Arteta. I think there's internal pressure, and pressure is placed on himself, and external to a degree of the fans and whatnot. But they're not demanding him. Right, we've given you money. You got to stop doing certain things. A little bit of pressure make him better. A little bit of pressure make everybody in life, let alone football, better, man. So yeah, man. What do you see happening with Jesus? I'm personally ready to move him on, but I don't think the club is. You can't move him on, bro. Who's buying him when you're bust? You got to bust up ACL. We wish him all the best, but who's copying you when your ACL is bust? At best, you might get a move in January, assuming that reports and you're actually, God forbid, there's no setbacks in his return and whatnot. But let's assume you're actually back in December. I think January, maybe even February. Then you're going to have to play catch up. No one's going to buy him. The club are not going to rip up his contract. He's contracted until 2027. And I know the game's not based on sympathy and all of that, but there's a way of doing things. Like I would look at my club we don't owe him nothing and it's ruthless and we need to move on. But come on, man, ripping up a man's contract when he's already, a man's on the floor. I don't like kicking men when they're down. He's going to be on the floor mentally. You rip up his contract. It's going to cost us too much. So the first thing for Jesus is to get back fit and then play some sort of part of next season. And you'd potentially, the summer of 2026, is his time to move on, potentially Tomiyasu's as well, unless they get over their injuries and their form is out of this world, man. Yeah, I'm not buying Cunha to be our striker. You're here to be part of the squad. Isak is more likely to cut to Barca than either Arsenal or Liverpool, though I want this club to do us right and bring him to the carpet. I mean, you can't begrudge him for going Barca or even Paris Saint-Germain and this kind of things. If Isak goes Liverpool, give me Salah on a free. Isak on his future. It's been an incredible journey. Proved I can be an asset to any top team in Europe. My main aim is to win the UCL, if not here at a club in England with a special history in Europe. Did he actually say that? You making things up? Where did he say that? I'm not doubting you, homie. I'm just saying, the internet people do silly stuff. And spare a thought for Isak. I just typed in his name. Professional thieves raided his home. You can't have anything in life, And naturally, there's nothing wrong with Isak saying that. Like, you've got ambition. But at the end of the day, you will leave Newcastle one day, but they're in an overly strong negotiating position. Is it true, though? It's been an incredible journey. The fans have treated me so well. My dream is to win a trophy for this club and break Alan Shearer's record. I mean, everyone's going to say everything, innit? On one hand, he's going to say, I've got ambitions to win trophies. On the other, he's going to say, I want to do it for Newcastle. Things change. Newcastle are in a strong negotiating position. Of course, if the big boys want him and Newcastle aren't quite there, it happens. It's like if you've got a talent player, they're going to go Real Madrid. Just the evolution of life. When the UCL looks like he's not signing their trust. If you want to win Champions League, you're in the wrong place. Well, you're not in the wrong place because you don't play for Arsenal, but you be in the wrong place. Although, maybe the stars are aligning. You've been grinding for years now. Big you up, most underrated Arsenal fan. Chico, I appreciate that, man. Don't want to be underrated no more, so you have to keep working, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Not worthy of praise as such, man. Ornstein stat, Saka 22 G8, Palmer 20 G8, Foden 16 G8 this season. Saka ain't played in 2.5 months. These guys not on Saka's level. Emre has bought far more attackers than Villa than defenders. They needed and still need defenders. Arteta is the opposite. You put Marquinhos in the Championship again, keep him there for a couple of years. Someone will put down 10 million down for the guy. Guarantee he'd perform. But it's techie, man. It's techie, man. No, but Barcelona, obviously he's played in Spain. Barcelona is a magical club. The only thing with Barcelona, do they have the facilities financially to buy Isak? But you never know, man. They do commit acts of fraud. I'm just aware of the time, and I think I'm going to be on Rancy's stream, people. So I'm going to lock this off now. But it's been a great hour. It's been a great second live stream. If there's anything of significance, live streams come out. Cut up clips come out, all of those kind of things come out. So make sure your notification bells are on. Most importantly, stay safe, stay blessed. Big up all of you lot. Hope you all have a great Friday and weekend. It's the 7th day of March. So I hope 2025 has been great. And I hope this new month has been great, man. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Bless.